Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Overwatch Palette Challenge. Greetings, friends and enemies. Welcome back to Art by Flan. Today, we're going to be taking a stab at the Overwatch Palette Challenge. Now, if you're not familiar with what this is, and I haven't really seen anybody in my YouTube circle do it, but I don't know if a lot of people in my YouTube circle play Overwatch as much as I do. But what it is the Overwatch Palette Challenge is you take the colors, because in Overwatch, as you saw in that screenshot in the beginning, has a color for each character, and it shows in like a bar graph how much you've played each character. And the goal of the challenge is to draw your main in those colors. Now, if you're not familiar what a main is, it's just the character you play the most or the character you prefer to play. Now, if you saw my stats at the beginning, you could see that I play a lot of Mercy. I have a total of 122 hours in Mercy alone. So that's who I am drawing today. So I'm going to be drawing Mercy, and I will be coloring her in the colors of the other characters I put a lot of time into, which is D.Va, Lucio, and Ana. So she's gonna not look quite like herself when I'm finished. Because this is such a simple piece, I didn't even really do a lot of shading. If I did any at all, I can't recall. I guess I'll see at the end. I decided to include the sketching and the line arting portion. I'm going to try and start including my sketching more in the future. I'm getting more and more comfortable with drawing on camera. So I'll be able to include that more often when I do art videos. So I'm looking forward to sharing more of that with you. And this is sort of a segue? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I gotta not try to English some days. Into that. So what I'm just working on is the sketch of Mercy here, and let me tell you, this was a practice in suffering. I don't do a lot of Overwatch fan art despite it being one of my all-time favorite games ever. I don't do a lot of fan art of it because the costumes are just really hard, guys. They're really freaking hard to draw. There's a lot of little pieces here and there, tiny technical details, and I can barely draw it, let alone animate it as much as they do, and not including like all the different skins and the poses, and just I can't imagine the amount of work that goes into this game. Like, just on the animation scale alone, I could prattle on for hours about how amazing the animation in Overwatch in general is, and that's not even talking about the cinematics. That's just in the actual game. But I tried to simplify Mercy quite a bit here, just get the highlights of her outfit, and even then I feel like it's sort of lacking something. It's her obviously, but it's kind of missing some of those key details that just make her outfit. I could have drawn her in one of her other skins, one of her simpler skins, one of the skins I like more than her default, but instead I decided to go with her default to make her more recognizable, I guess, and I think I did okay. You saw it kind of pop in there. I didn't realize I wasn't recording when I drew her wings and her staff, so I'm very sorry about that, but I did draw them and they are there at the end, and so I'm moving on to the line art here in Paint Tool SAI. Like I said, it's not a big, huge, fancy piece. It just took me a little bit to sketch because of just simplifying the details in her actual costume. But I really like how the line art of this came out. I may do a regular colored version for myself later, because the final version has some wacky colors because I had such a limited palette. And I guess technically this is a limited palette challenge, but it's just within the confines of Overwatch. And honestly, I could have probably spent this whole video just talking about Overwatch and how much I love this game. Like, it became such a detriment to my my art time when all I want to do is play Overwatch. It's ridiculous how much I love this game. And I'm not even, like I think I've mentioned before, I'm not even a first-person shooter kind of person, or I wasn't, I guess, until I started playing Overwatch, and just, I love the characters and I love the stories that they've created for them so much that it just makes the game and the gameplay that much more enjoyable, because I didn't so much fall in love with the game first as I fell in love with the characters first, and I wanted to play these characters and I wanted to know more about them, and that sort of segued into me just loving the game in general. But line art will always take the longest on these videos. It always takes me the longest. I try my damnedest to shorten it, but it just never seems to be short enough for my liking. So moving on to finishing up her wings, and we should be shifting in to the colors here in just a few seconds. Ooh, I like to time this. I never time it right. Alright, we're shifting into the colors here. So what you're going to see me do first is paint things just random bright colors. That's not part of the challenge, like that's not the palette I'm using. That's just me blocking off colors so that I can change them easily when I actually start doing the palette, using the palette. That way I don't have to color them all in individually, and I can just change them on the go each time I decide where I want to put a different color. Because you'll see when I actually start coloring for using the limited palette that I do change up my mind several times. So that's what I'm doing here, just blocking in those colors and making sure I have all the little spots filled in. So we should be shifting on into the actual palette challenge here in a minute. You'll see me putting the finishing colors on her staff. I saved that to last and just put everything on the correct color matching layer. But there's the screenshot you saw at the beginning, and there's me just taking a shot of it so I can get those colors. And there are the 4 colors I'm working with: a pale yellow, a bright pink, a lime green, and a dark blue. As you can see, I go through several different things trying to get her to look even halfway decent. Some of the if you look up the challenge, you could see some really beautiful pieces of people have done of their mains in these wacky color palettes, but I guess these are just not colors I think would usually work together. It's sort of like the 3 marker challenge, where you, again, a limited palette challenge, but I guess if you only pay characters that have colors that work aesthetically together, it'll look great. Otherwise, you get this. That's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see, don't forget to click that like button. You can click that subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, why don't you click that little dingling bell down there so you get a notification every single week when I post a brand new video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye!